Boom! Let's go. Let's go. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Philly with John Marks on PHLY. I'm extra caffeinated this morning. I feel like you can always see my neck up when I look into the. Let me see if I can give myself less headspace here. Is that a little bit better? A little bit better. All right. What's up, everybody? Hope everybody had. It's Tuesday already. This is going to be one of these easier weeks. A 4-day work week. Memorial Day in the books. I had a great Memorial Day. I was over at my in-laws. I was in Delco, and then kind of on the fly, our pool opened up over the weekend, but the weather was miserable until yesterday. And we got some text messages from friends that were over at the pool. So we're like, you know what? What the hell? Let's do it. So we went over for a couple hours yesterday. The water temperature at Nine Oaks Swim Club was 64 degrees. So that means if you're a male and you get in the water, it means you get some shrinkage and some shriveling of the scrotum, which is certainly what I experienced yesterday. It was cold. But when my 3-year-old wants to get in the water, daddy's got to get in the water with her. So everybody had a great weekend. Tyler Zulli is with me as well in his home studio this morning. What's up, K-Red? Good morning, everybody out there. As always, Philly with John Marks, sponsored by BetParx. A lot to get to today. Bob Cooney is going to join us about 20 minutes from now to talk about everything that's going on, including the Phillies. And he, of course, follows and covers the Phillies for PHLY. Bob Cooney coming up in a second. Zulli coming up in a second. I have to start with this because I heard him say this. And when I say him, I'm talking about Roger Goodell. I heard him say it, but I didn't see anybody write it up. And I didn't see someone actually post the soundbite. I should probably go in and clip the soundbite that he said and isolate it. Because when I heard it, I said, oh, yeah, Roger Goodell's talking about the Eagles. Roger Goodell is specifically talking about the Philadelphia Eagles. So at the owners' meetings, we know they tried to screw the Eagles with banning the tush push. That was, according to all reports and anybody with half of a brain, the league now decides what rules they want imposed, what rules they want thrown out for a vote. And because they can't just do that themselves and they can't vote it in, so now they try to cozy up with a team like the Packers. And they say, hey, we agree with you. We don't like this tush push. Can you please help us with this? Or, hey, Lions, we heard you complaining about the team that didn't win the NFC North getting screwed. We agree with you. Hey, can you put out a proposal to get rid of that playoff rule? Because that we agree with you, right? And then they politic around to owners and GMs and coaches to try to get everything that they want. Passed. Didn't work with them this year with either one of those things. But Roger Goodell said when doing kind of like a state of the league address, speaking to reporters, he had said that at the league meetings, they talked about the salary cap system, how well it's working, whether teams are operated within its intended spirit, and what changes might needed to be in the next round of the CBA. There it is. So pay it close attention or listen to or look at when it says whether teams are operating within its intended spirit. Thank you, Tyler. Yes, that is directly finger point, middle finger, bullseye. That's directed at the Philadelphia Eagles. Because what the Eagles have done with the salary cap, we knew this. We've known this for a while. Everybody always said, and you would hear this quite a bit, oh, Howie's a wizard when it comes to the salary cap. Any team in the NFL can do what the Eagles have been doing for years. There's just something that they have to do. They have to put money out front in the form of signing bonuses and roster bonuses and things like that. So they're able to rip up the contract on the fly for the players that they know are going to be here for a while and redo the contract and give them salary cap space. It means the owner needs to put out all the money in advance. And the Eagles got away with it for a while. But then when they started winning, the Super Bowl, the first Super Bowl was one thing. That was Patrick Robinson. That was older players. That was mercenaries. That was with a nice core of Eagles players. But not everybody on the Eagles had this high salary. So now that the Eagles have went to 2 of the last 3 Super Bowls, could have, should have won the first one, dominated the Chiefs in the second one. And then you look at their team, and I think the writing is on the wall across the NFL. The Eagles aren't going anywhere. It would be a huge upset for this team not to win another Super Bowl, or certainly get back to another Super Bowl or two. I don't want to say it, or three. You get what I'm saying, though. So what the Eagles have done is say, hey, we can't sign everybody, but we can pretty much sign everybody that we want. What player have the Eagles not been able to sign because of salary, because of the cap? They could have signed Milton Williams. That was more about cash flow than cap space. Eagles can sign anybody they want to, kicking the can down the road. And so many people out there, I don't want to call them idiots, but so many people out there, media, fans, they're just realizing now, players across the NFL, they're just realizing now what the Eagles are doing. Joe Burrow, and we had somebody put the comment up there. Tyler put it up there, and it's true. When Joe Burrow came out and said, hey, the Eagles sign everybody. What do you mean I can't have T. Higgins and Jamar Chase? What the bleep? Right? That served notice to the owners in the NFL. Hey, what the Eagles are doing right now, they're not working within the intended spirit of the salary cap. And you know what? They're not. What the Eagles are doing is they found a loophole. Now, the NFL could very easily close this loophole by doing what? Guaranteed contracts. The void years and all the other mumbo jumbo that they put. When you see a contract, and agents love to do this, and the Diana Rossinis and Adam Schefters and rap sheets and all the pawns, the NFL insiders, they take whatever contract the agent tells them and they put it out there. Oh, player A signed for 6 years, $150 million. How much is guaranteed? Oh, $50 million is guaranteed, because the other $100 million they're probably not going to see, right? If the NFL and the owners wanted to stop circumventing the salary cap like the Eagles are doing, guess what? Just give the players guaranteed contracts like every other sports league in the world. No, because they want to have this bogus salary cap. So when Roger Goodell comes out and says that our team's operating within the intended spirit of the salary cap, well, no, they're not. They're working around it because it's easy to do if you pay the money. So now that the owners have been called out by Joe Burrow, and now other owners, other players and agents are going to say, hey, what do you mean you can't afford to sign Derrick Henry, Jerry Jones? Of course you can. Give them a 5-year contract and space the money out. They just don't want to pay it. Because that money that Jeffrey Lurie puts out in advance, when you put in, I'm not going to say the bank, but you know what I mean, $100, $200, $3 million, you can get big time interest on that. You're accruing a lot of money. Mike Brown of the Bengals wants to pay players every week during the season. He doesn't want to give them $100 million now because he can make millions of dollars on interest on that. So these owners, they see what the Eagles are doing and they're saying, oh, this is a problem. We don't like this. We don't want to do this. We want to do what we're doing right now, and the Eagles are screwing us. So what does Roger Goodell do and the NFL do? Now they're going to take that from the owners and they're going to stop it. So here's what I'll say. If you want to say the intended spirit of the salary cap, the entire NFL salary cap isn't within working with a real salary cap. The intended spirit of a salary cap is to have a salary cap. Hey, team A, team B, team C. You can spend to $300 million. That's the most you can spend. Major League Baseball has it with the luxury tax, so they can go over it, but they have to pay a penalty, and only 5-6 teams are willing to do it. I mean, basketball it's a soft cap, so it's not really a salary cap. But you just can't do whatever you want to do, which is pretty much what the Eagles are doing right now. But that's a fugazi cap as well. The NHL, that's more of a hard cap, right? So all of these salary caps, and that Major League Baseball wants a real salary cap, all of these salary caps are kind of fugazi. And the NFL is the biggest fugazi salary cap of them all. So put a hard cap and have guaranteed contracts like everybody else. But now that you see, and the writing is on the wall, that the Philadelphia Eagles are running the NFL, what do? Oh, we can't have this. We're going to ban the tush push. Didn't work. We're going to get rid of the current salary cap. And they're not going to put in a real hard cap with a floor and with everything else. They're just going to do it so owners don't have to spend money the way that Jeffrey Lurie spends money. Do people realize that Jeffrey Lurie and the Philadelphia Eagles are changing the NFL? Jeffrey Lurie says, you know what? I value Super Bowls over having cash in hand. Because Jeffrey Lurie's making his money. He's making more money than he was before. You just got to spend it. Mike Brown wants to accrue the couple $1 million of interest that he can get by not giving player A, player B, and player C all the money up front, or converting that into a roster bonus, or giving another $20 million and giving it to him now and redoing that contract. He don't want to do that. The players want to do it because they get the money now. Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman want to do it because then they can pretty much sign whoever they want to. You would think Jerry Jones and the Cowboys, they'd be like the Yankees, the Dodgers. Look at Major League Baseball. All the big teams, the Phillies for that matter, they don't mind going over the luxury tax because they're making a lot of money. They're in a profitable market. And everybody wants to F you the Dodgers. Everyone wants to F you the Yankees. What did you think the Dallas Cowboys, the franchise that has the most value in all of sports, would be the one that everybody is trying to change rules because of? No, it's the Philadelphia Eagles. Take a bow, Philadelphia Eagles. Take a bow, Eagles fans. We are the center of the sports universe. We are the center of the NFL. And the league, and now its owners, are doing everything in their power to stop it. That's how petrified they are of the Eagles being in charge of the NFL. So enjoy it while it lasts, because they're going to continue to try to screw the Eagles. But you know what? With this owner, with this GM, and with the players that they're picking, it's not going to matter. We got them. We got them. As this portion of the program brought to you by GLAT Hair Restoration, GLATHairMM.com, 610-980-4000. Tyler Zulli, I went a little bit long there. We have Bob Cooney coming up in about 10 minutes. Your thoughts? Listen, as far as the show, we've talked about this for pretty much since I started. We've been talking about how this is an Eagle thing, what they're doing. And Howie Roseman isn't reinventing the salary cap. They just figured out a way around it. And these cheap owners don't want to spend the money, or they could do the same damn thing.
Yeah, 6 months ago or so, you said for the first time, the Eagles, the NFL revolves around the Eagles, something along those lines. And when you first said it, I went, I don't know if I'm ready to go there just yet. They're a good team. They've structured themselves well. Howie Roseman's a great GM. Jeffrey Lurie's willing to spend the money. But I don't know, for a team that's won one Super Bowl in its history, is that necessarily true? Everything that's come out since then, between on the field with the Eagles winning the Super Bowl and off the field with some of these rule proposals and changes and things like that, have seemingly proved you more and more correct. And you were on this from the jump. And I got to give you credit for that, because you were, again, everything that comes out gets more and more proven that you are correct in the fact that the Eagles, the way that they operate, both business-wise and on the football field, have changed the complexity of the NFL over the last 24 months or so. You could even say probably the last 12 months.
Yep. Yeah, they just, the media just realizes it now. In the last, like the middle of the season, Eagles are rolling. They're like, hang on a second. How can they pay these guys? Let's take a closer look. And then the players hear that, because the agents obviously know, but they don't want to shake the tree too much, because they're making a lot of money off these contracts. So they're not going to expose the owners and everything that's going on. So the Eagles win, they dominate, and the league comes up with it's like they're the government with propaganda. Oh, there's injuries. There's the injury risk of the tush push. What injury risk? Oh, well, it could happen. We're trying to look ahead. We don't want it to become a problem. Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it's going to become this major problem where quarterbacks are just dying on the field because of the tush push. Like, it's 3 teams are doing it. It's just so crazy. And when he says operating within its intended spirit, they're right. The Eagles aren't operating within the intended spirit of a salary cap. The problem is the NFL doesn't have a salary cap that has real spirit to what we're talking about. Again, they're picking and choosing their spots. If they wanted to create a real cap, a real hard cap that everybody had to, you could always spend so much money, they could do it. The easiest way to do it is to guarantee the contracts, which they'll never do.
Well, I always thought, like, if you were ranking the 4 leagues in terms of, like, strength of salary cap, in terms of, like, the strictness of the salary cap, that the NFL was probably either second or third, because the NHL has had a hard cap for almost 2 decades now, I believe, if not a little bit longer, and they've been very strict on it. And even in recent years, post-COVID, it's not gone anywhere. In fact, it's not like next year, I believe after the 2025 season, it's supposed to go up almost $10 million, I think, which is substantial in the NHL.
Yep.
But they're the strictest of the sense. Baseball doesn't have one, so they're the loosest. But the NBA, I think, at this point has surpassed the NFL in terms of how they strictly guard the cap. And that is to say, like, as you brought up earlier, the NBA allows you to go over the salary cap to re-sign your own players, to extend your own players. It's when you bring in free agents, that's when you have a specific cap number to look at. The NFL at this point has fallen behind that, in the sense that you add these void years, you add these made up, fake years, and you front load it like Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman do, and like a handful of other teams do. And you basically say, hey, here's some guaranteed cash up front. We'll front the money. It's entirely a risk to us. We'll front the money up front. And then in 2 years, when you should be the 7th highest paid, player at your position, in fact, you're the 20th highest paid player at your position because you got guaranteed cap. And it's a win-win for both parties, because the Eagles end up making out in it, and the player goes, I got my $20 million up front. What do I care?
Do you remember that when Daniel Jones' cap number was like $45 or $50 million or something like that, and Jalen Hurts
Giants are still paying him this year. He plays for the Colts.
I know, it's so great, and even my one buddy that's a Giants fan was like, "Oh yeah, but like the Eagles are going to have to pay for this down the road." Are you idiots? They've never paid for it. Don't you see what they're doing? This really isn't difficult. You just don't realize it. It's pretty crazy. And you mentioned something with the NBA. The NBA, now they make it difficult, and it's smart, where if you have all these max players, it's very difficult for you to do anything else. It's discouraging trying to do the big three. With the NFL, like it really wouldn't be that difficult to stop. So let me say this. We're going to move on. We're going to talk to Bob coming up in a little bit. So the NFL, like, really, if they wanted to stop, like let me give you an example with the tush push. I don't blame the league for trying to get it stopped. I don't like the way that they did it, which is lying about injuries. It's slimy. It's disgusting. If you watch what Washington did in the NFC Championship game, if I was the commissioner of the NFL, I would have said, this is a potential problem. Because if I'm a team, this is what I'm trying to do every time now. If you can't stop it, why wouldn't you try it? That's not good for the game. So I don't blame the league for wanting the tush push gone. You just can't make stuff up to try to get rid of it. In this particular case, this isn't the league. Because does this hurt look at the league. There's more international games than ever. There's more windows, like Black Friday games. They're making more money than ever. So why would you want to change that? You don't want to change it. The owners want to change it, because the owners don't want this being the way that you operate, because then they're spending more money. This isn't a Roger Goodell, Troy Vincent, give you the middle finger. These are the owners of the NFL that say, hey, Raj, we need changes here, because what the Eagles are doing, we don't want to do. So again, next time you want to bitch about Jeffrey Lurie or say, oh, they should have re-signed Milton, no. You should be literally like bowing to Jeffrey Lurie. Like, holy crap, we might have the best owner in sports. And put that with John Middleton, too. Man, we have really, really good ownership in the top 2 teams here in the city. All right, coming up, Bob Cooney. So we haven't talked about the Phillies and their very successful road trip. They're back at home tonight against the Braves. We'll talk to Bob about that, and we'll lead off with this NFL issue that we're talking about, how the Eagles are ruining owners' lives in the NFL. We got that, a lot more. Still ahead, Philly with John Marks. Don't go anywhere. Please don't go anywhere, because we got to talk about Empire today. I was over a buddy's house over the weekend, down in his basement, and we finished our basement like right before COVID. We finished our basement, and it's great. So he's finishing his basement. He was asking me, he's like, all right, like, what do you think? What would you get done or whatever? And then we were talking about floors. And it's like, oh, all right. So what do you want to get? And he's like, so I recommended. First of all, I recommended Empire Today because they're experts. So like in my basement, I have carpeting in one area, and then I have laminate in the other. And honestly, laminate's great, especially for the price. It's a really, really good value. And Empire Today is your best bet for a new floor. They live and breathe flooring. It's all they do. They're with you every step of the way. So if you thought about going to one of the big box stores, don't. Because, piles and piles fill the aisles. Never seen so many styles. But then you can't get anybody to help you with it. Now you got to worry about hauling the crap, taking it home, finding a contractor. With Empire Today, they come right to your home. They bring the showroom right to your home. You know what the advantage of that is? You can see what it looks like with your lighting, with your walls, the coloring of your walls, and with your furniture. It's going to look different in a showroom. I've had this happen to me personally, right? They come to your home. Precise measurements. You know what it's going to look like in your space, right? All your questions are answered. There's no surprises. And we're talking about clear, upfront, and all-inclusive pricing. There's no pricing game here, ladies and gentlemen. You can schedule your installation as soon as the next day. And how about $350 shaved off the top? That's right. That's your discount for using promo code PHLY. So get the experts out to your spot. Check it out. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/PHLY for full details. empiretoday.com/PHLY. Hooah! All right, listen, man, it's a good time to be at BetParx. Right now, what do we have going on here? Pro hoops, playoffs. They've been good. Hockey, playoffs. They've been good. We got Philadelphia baseball back in town tonight against Atlanta. Live bet Philadelphia baseball. You want to mess around before the game? Awesome. But take a look at what happens to the numbers during the game. Live bet baseball, wager and watch. Live betting is just better on the BetParx online sportsbook and online casino app. Maybe you'll make a little bit of cash. All right, well, why don't you get over to the online casino? Live dealer blackjack, roulette, craps, poker, hot online slots in the palm of your hands. And new users get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. BetParx.com. Download the app. Enjoy all the action and excitement from the casino at your fingertips. You must be 21 and in PA, New Jersey, Maryland, or Michigan for BetParx. You love to play. You play to win. You bet BetParx. Gambling problem. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. Hooah. Bob Cooney is going to join us coming up here in just 1 second. We will have the BetParx Parlay of the day coming up. I know people are waiting with bated breath. If you do the opposite of what we do, then you likely will win. Although Tyler was on fire with his picks last week, I can't buy a bet right now. I just found out can't. As Bob Cooney covers the Philly for PHLY, and listen, he is a general assignment reporter as well, in addition to being on the Phillies beat. What's up, Cooney?
How are you, buddy? How was the holiday?
I was trying to remember what I did on Saturday, and I can't.
That's a good holiday.
Yeah, it wasn't because of booze. But yeah, yesterday I went to I'm a member of a pool, and it's think Bushwood. If you're thinking like it's not a great pool, it's more like Bushwood. Very, very family affordable. But yeah, yesterday we went to the pool in the afternoon. It was awesome. We got a little bit of sunshine. So it was a good weekend. How about you?
Good. Yeah, great weekend. Couple of parties. Yesterday just did some yard work and hung by my pool all day yesterday. So good day.
Your pool, huh? So you opened the pool because the weather wasn't great.
Yeah. They opened it last Thursday. It was funny, John. It was,
Uh-oh. That's not funny. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, if you got a pool out there, you're better than me because I like friends with pools. I would love to get a pool, but the maintenance and everything else, the cost also.
My mom has had a pool since we were kids, and every year she threatens, I'm not opening it anymore. I'm closing this. I hate this pool. And then every May comes around and she goes, it's time to open the pool. Can't wait to get in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can have a pool that's not open. I
think so. She, obviously when we were kids, it was great because, the kids, we'd have friends over, family parties and stuff. Now that, my brother and I are adults, we're there less frequently. So it's really just her doing a lot of the maintenance of it, and we try to come over and help when we can. But, we got families and lives and things like that too. So it's unfortunately a lot of the maintenance has fallen on her. And she every year, I think it might be the last year.
So is that a threat to you guys? Like, hey, if you want to keep using this pool, homeboy, you better get over here and help me out with it.
Yeah, it might be, especially now that I've got a little one and want to start getting him, acclimated to the water.
Oh, dude, like more than ever, you're gonna need that pool again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it's probably coming shortly. Hey, get over and help us.
The only thing better than a pool is a close friend or a family member with a pool.
Yep.
So you can go use their pool. All right. Well, there you go. Well, listen, we'll try to. There he is, Bob Cooney, who fell in his pool.
I don't know what happened there. Yeah, but yeah, they opened their pool. It was 55 and raining, so
beautiful.
Wasn't many pool days. But my daughter did the polar plunge yesterday, so she came home from the shore. I think she had to shake some cobwebs out of her head a little bit. You know what if I'm talking about?
I bet
she jumped into a very frigid pool yesterday. So proud of her for that.
I was in with my 3-year-old. It was 64 degrees in the pool.
Nice.
No.
Good for you. That's like good fatherhood.
Like, Daddy, uppy. And I'm like, baby, I'm not carrying you with your wet body. I would only go I wasn't going more than the waist, man. I was not diving in. It was cold. The shrinkage, Bob Cooney.
I know nothing about that.
All right, let's start with the NFL before we get to the Phillies here. The Roger Goodell quote from the owners' meetings. Owners had a lengthy discussion at the league meetings about the salary cap system, how well it's working, whether teams are operating within its intended spirit. And you know what that is? He might as well just said, hey, we talked about how the Eagles are totally screwing us because they figured out a way to pay everybody, and we don't want to pay people like that. You agree with that? That's a bullseye on how the Eagles operate?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, seriously, intended spirit. Excuse me, Mr. Goodell. I can do things this way according to your rules, but now you're telling me that my intentions aren't very nice. Like, what is that? What are you talking about? Like, the essence of sports is trying to be ripped out from underneath of the Philadelphia Eagles. The essence of sports is to try to find a way to win games, to do some things that your opponents can't do, and find something that you're better at doing. Well, they're better at the brotherly shove, the tush push, whatever you want to call it. Nobody else can do it as well as them. They found something in the NFL that they can do extremely well. Now you have a general manager who's found ways to exploit what is salary cap system and become, the dominant person at doing it. That's the essence of sports, finding the way to do something the best so nobody else can do it as good as you. So you find a way to do that, and now they're trying to take it away from you. I think some people have lost the memory of what the essence of sports is. And yeah, it's bothering.
The intended spirit of a contract is what, Bob? It's a contract that you shouldn't be able to get rid of a player whenever they want to. This is the only sport that doesn't have guaranteed contracts. So guarantee the contracts, put a hard cap in there if you really want to do that. But they don't want to do that. They just want the Eagles to stop doing what they're doing. Joe Burrow, it was funny last year. Jeff Kavanaugh of our DLLS down in our sister network down in Dallas, he started putting out on Twitter explaining how the Eagles are able to do it. He starts putting figures out on Twitter. This is how much money they're actually spending year to year. This is how much money the Cowboys are actually spending year to year. The Eagles are spending more than any other team, or almost as any other team, because they're willing to operate by giving the money in advance to give them this salary cap flexibility. Then Joe Burrow comes out on Part of My Take and says, I want to do what the Eagles are doing. They sign everybody. So now all these owners are like, oh, bleep, now they know. We could do the same thing. Jerry Jones said last year they couldn't afford to sign Derrick Henry. He got $9 million guaranteed. They could have given him a 17-year contract and spaced out the cap years and paid no money on the salary cap. He didn't want to pay Derrick Henry. These owners don't want to. They want to pay the guys every Tuesday during the season. Yeah. They want to pay them everything up front. It hurts their bottom line. It hurts the money they make off that money. The owners do not want the Eagles operating like this, and they're going to do their damnedest to make sure they can.
And who's it about when you talk about contracts? It's about the players, right? All right, let's go to the players that have played for the Eagles over the last 5, 6, 7 years. Let's see if they're upset with the way the Eagles handle contracts. It's hysterical. You look at hard caps. That's all you have to do. Get Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott and say, how in the world is Howie Roseman so much smarter than Jerry Jones that his hard cap hit is like $40 million below what Dak Prescott's is? Figure it out, league. I mean, this is what it's about. Figure out how to beat somebody else at what you're trying to do. It is the essence of sports. Stop trying to take it away from the Philadelphia Eagles.
The Philadelphia Phillies now coming home, day off yesterday, Bob Cooney. Game and a half up on the Mets, most wins in the National League. Only the Tigers have more wins in all of Major League Baseball. They beat up on bad teams, as they should, Bob. I remember not that long ago bitching about the Phillies losing too much to the Marlins, losing series against teams they shouldn't lose to. And all they did, man, they said, we're going to beat up Pirates. Rockies took 3 against, I wanted to say Oakland, against the Sacramento A's. Man, now we're going to see the Braves aren't great this year, but when you look at their starting pitching still very good. But all in all, a very, very good road trip, and it sets them up here for kind of like this June run before you get to the All-Star break to see where this team kind of is midway through the season.
Yeah, and they're fun to watch. They're doing what they have to do. Tyler and I talked about this last week on our Monday show. That the old saying: every team in Major League Baseball wins 60 games. Every team in Major League Baseball loses 60 games. It's the other 42. Like what happens there, it's going to define your season. Well, I look at like the Rockies, the A's. Those are your other 42, right, John? Like those are games that you're going to go to, and yeah, you're supposed to win them. Okay, well then win them, and that's just what they did. And it's like it feels like every time I do a recap or a preview for a series, I go back to the starting pitching with the Phillies, John. It's just unbelievable. They had a long road trip, then a long homestand, and now another long road trip again. Their ERA was under 2 on the other 2. This one, starting pitching ERA was 2.57, which is outstanding once again. And, you have a Taijuan Walker starting there also, which nothing against him, but it's a Taijuan Walker. But, you're going to have the Matt Strom little breakdowns and things like that. But that's, as you guys were talking about, that Saturday night game was so much fun to watch. And it's kind of an essence of who they are right now, where no game is done. They come back a lot. You have different heroes. Bryce Harper goes 8 for 18 against the Rockies in that 4-game series, and you're thinking, oh, he's back. And then he kind of slumps a little bit against the A's, but other people pick it up. And whether it's a Marsh with a defensive play or Turner keeping it up at the plate, doing what he's doing and all those things, to me, it all still comes back to the starting pitching. And, man, there's nobody in baseball as good as these guys.
Yeah, Luzardo gives up 3 runs in the first inning yesterday, settles down, ends up having 15 strikeouts when it's all said and done. He gives you 7 innings. And like I saw people posting about this on social media being like, oh, we have a Matt Strom problem. No, they don't. Guys are going to give up runs. I don't know what to say. Matt Strom has been nothing but great since the Phillies acquired him, signed him. As the bullpen arm, you're going to have outings that you give up. Now, I'm not telling you they're not going to need help in the bullpen, which they're clearly going to need. But all in all, you mentioned Kepler. It was really good to see him. Successful teams, and the Phillies did that in the first half of last year, and then they couldn't do it in September. But it seemed like they were winning in different ways all the time. Starting pitching would carry them one game. Offense would carry them another game. They would come back, and there would be a different hero. And Kepler, that home run, man, and he's not hitting a home run off of a guy that is, Miller is a great closer. The Phillies might be interested in acquiring him. That's a hell of a big play. And then they're able to win in an extra inning. So, yeah, I really like the way the team's coming together right now. I do. Yeah,
and it's different ways, like you said, whether it's base running, although yesterday Rojas getting thrown out to end the game was kind of sour. But base running, look, they're going to be a team that takes chances. And I had a constant argument with a guy that I used to be on the radio with who would say, they're bad base runners. Nah, I'm telling you, I think that the analytics that they have come out and said, look, we're going to take chances. We're probably going to get thrown out on the base pass more than other teams, but it's because I think that they look at the numbers and say, yeah, but we also take more bases than any other team. So I think that all evens out. Yeah, is it maddening sometimes? Yes. But I think they probably take more bases than any team. Their defense, like Castellanos, has now become like a pretty good right fielder, right?
He is.
He gets to everything. Rojas, we know what he is. Marsh makes the huge throw the other night. Alec Boehm at third base has been really good. I compare Trey Turner's defense to the team's base running, where let's not forget about the really good plays he makes also. Yeah, does he bungle a few? Sure he does, and I'm not making excuses for that. But look at the athletic, really good plays that he makes also that other shortstops might not be able to make. So, we're looking for perfection in this team, it seems, John, right? Like you're talking about people complaining about Strom and all this and that. And I understand looking for perfection. That's what you do in sports, but you do that so that you can reach excellence. And they're almost there. I mean, this team, starting pitching, hitting, they're as you said, second best record in baseball, or maybe percentage-wise the best. They're a really good team. And excellence is kind of being seen right now when they've won 21 of their last 27 games.
It's really interesting you bring up the analytics as far as base running. It makes sense too. It does. Rojas drives me crazy with some of his defensive plays, but the base running is totally different. Victorino used to drive me nuts with his bone, because he would try to take third base with 2 outs, and it'd be like, what are you doing? You're trying to steal third base there's 2 outs in the inning. What are you doing? Or he's trying to go first to third when there's 2 outs. It's just stupid. But that's not Rojas. But he does drive you crazy. But because of his speed, I guess it does make sense that they would try, because on a lot of these plays, you're getting a bad throw that's coming in, and it would be like, well, if he would have went, he would have scored. So they're taking into account, hey, if it's a D throw in the home, he scored. If it's a B throw, he's out. And they're looking and saying like, hey, they rely on analytics a lot. That lineup is determined by analytics. A lot of the moves are determined by analytics. So I guess that makes a lot of sense. Think
about it, John. Schwarber scored from first base the other night. Scored from first. Like, you almost would have to hit a ball like in Yosemite Park for it to get far enough for him to score from first base. But he did. So it's kind of like oh, cool, he scored a run. No, that goes into the books.
Yeah, it does.
9 times out of 10, you're going to stop Schwarber at third base going from first to home, because that's the proper thing to do. They didn't, and he scored. And you see that more times than not, but it kind of goes under the radar. Keep an eye on those things. Like when we get upset with their base running, try to keep an eye on the good things they do in the base running that you don't really expect.
All right. Is Mick Abel, who had another good AAA start his last time out there, is he gone by the trade deadline? Because listen, if I'm a team out there that has a closer and says, you know what, like, we're rebuilding, a former first-round draft pick, starting pitcher, I don't know if I want to trade him for just a closer, unless it's a guy he's under contract for multiple years at an affordable rate, or he's under club control and he still has arbitration years. You've unlocked him, and you're going to trade a young starting pitcher, former first-round draft pick, for a closer? I don't know, man, but it sure seems like that's what they would think about doing, being that they have a logjam in starting pitching.
Yeah, that's a great logjam to have, and I'll keep that. Like, no chance in hell am I trading for a closer, a Mick Abel. We had Tyler and I talked about this, and Tyler might be shaking his head. I can't see him on our podcast here, but I think closers are the most overrated position in almost all of sports. I really do. Like, look at Romano and how good he was for 3-4 games. And we're like, okay, good. They have their closer. Then he goes in the other night. I swear, John, I'm watching that game the other night and Romano's pitching. I'm like, was he out drinking this afternoon? Like falling off the mound when he's throwing a pitch, and he's like, doing like little twirly birds on the mound and stuff. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And he gets lit up. So now, like Strom, here come the questions. Oh, man, you don't have Alvarado. Do you really have a closer? But in 4 previous outings, Romano was really good, and there was no question of, oh, okay, you could probably plug him in there. You find somebody that's hot, whether it's a Romano, whether it's a Strom or a Kerkering or whoever. They get hot for a little bit, and you throw them out there for 5 closing opportunities, and they're good, and they get the job done. Okay, problem solved. Then they get a little sour. Okay, go to somebody else. Maybe problem solved again. I just, closer in baseball, especially with the situational way that Rob Thompson manages lefties, righties, all those things. No way am I trading a young, good arm for a closer this season. No way in hell am I doing that.
Totally agree. And
good.
I hope, well, no, it'd be crazy. But here's the problem. Where's Aaron Nola going?
Yeah, figure it out. Yeah, Nola's interesting with this, and was it you? Oh no, I was on with Jim Salisbury, and I guess it was Tyler or somebody, I forget. But Salisbury had a great thing. He says, "Okay, come playoff time, when that problem comes, all the starting pitching you have, how about you throw Christopher Sanchez into the bullpen? You say, okay, bring that 98-mile-an-hour heat and that crazy sinker that you have. Bring that in a ninth inning of a playoff game or eighth and ninth inning of a playoff game. Look, it's a great, great luxury to have. You have to think of the future, too. You have to look at Painter and Abel for the future of this franchise. And that's something that they didn't do 10, 12, 14 years ago when it was like win now and nothing else. And you saw the doldrums that came after that. No. Look for the now, but also look for the future. I am not moving one of these pitchers for a closer now. No way in hell.
What do you got up on allphly.com right now, Bob Cooney?
So today we're going to have up a review of what the series that just were against the Rockies and the Athletics, and we'll have some numbers in there as well as a look ahead to the Braves. So this is a really interesting time. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they said this is going to define the Phillies season. I wouldn't go that far, but the fact that the Braves are healthy again, as you said, have really good starting pitching. There's nothing better. There's nothing better in my mind when you're playing good baseball. Yeah, you have to beat up on these direct teams, which the Phillies just did. But in my mind, John, there's nothing better when you're playing well and then the best team comes to town or you go to their place. All right, have at it. Here we go. Rub the hands together and let's go, John.
I don't know what it is, man. The Phillies give me anxiety like no other team. I'm almost dreading this series because I look at the pitching matchups.
Really?
And the Phillies have great starting pitching, but I look at the matchups and I'm like, all right, Spencer Strider, you got the Schuster Smith, whatever the hell that guy's name is. He's good. I don't know.
Okay. Guess what? So is Wheeler. So is Luzardo. So is Sanchez. So is I don't know. Starting pitching scares me when it comes to the Phillies. Their starting pitching, if you just go through the numbers and jot them down like I do all the time, in the words of my kids and probably your kids too, John, it's sick. The Phillies starting pitching is absolutely sick.
I know. I'm terrible with the Phillies. I have terrible anxiety. I can't help it. But anyway.
Why? Is it because you're looking for perfection? Is it because of what's happened in years past?
Yeah, I guess it's always hit me differently. The playoffs always give me a different anxiety. I literally throw up during playoff games sometimes. When I talk about having a puke bucket, people laugh at me. I did go for a drive to Target last year during one of the games. I forget which one. Yeah, I drive to Target and listen on the Matt Stairs home run. I was in the car driving around because I couldn't take it. I heard the call on the radio. I literally can't watch it.
You and I are polar opposites, and it used to piss off. Remember that little guy we used to work with, Pat Egan, little short guy?
Yeah.
He would get literally wouldn't talk to me because I would come in the day after a playoff loss or whatever, and I'd say, all right, let's look at it, and just be in my normal mood because it's probably my past profession of writing where you can't really be fully invested in, I hope they win. It's more of a let's look at the story of it all. I can still do that. I love it when they win, but if they lose, I still look for the story side of it, not so much that the fandom makes me, as you need, a puke bucket.
Well, Bob, listen, as usual, we talk too long because I'm way up against it. I have extra reads I have to do today.
All right, go do it.
But thank you as always. Bob Cooney, everybody. Read them, allphly.com. Great coverage on all different sports, not just the Phillies, but he covers the Phillies for all PHLY. All right, we're back. After this, we have a lot more to go, 2 and 2. Don't go anywhere. Philly with John Marks. Ace. We have Ace first. Ace Hardware Home Services. There we go. All right, listen. It's that time of year. Have I already had my air conditioner serviced? So listen, your HVAC, right? Like every time spring going in the summer, you need to get it taken care of. Seasonal maintenance, repairs, installation. That's what Ace Hardware Home Services is. They're ready for the next job. So they're bringing experience. They understand. They want to listen to your goals, and the job isn't completed until you're satisfied. Ace Hardware Home Services, power of the Ace brand, striving to be the best, most popular, and trusted provider of home preservation services. So a wide range of residential maintenance, installation, home repair services are available. That includes plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical. Free estimates on equipment installation and replacement. And again, these are trusted advisors, and they have options that are best suited for your home and budget. Service you can trust. Satisfaction is guaranteed. They're going to make it right no matter what. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services.com to get started on your next project. Ace Hardware Home Services.com. Hooah! All right, Ashley, the low prices are blooming. Spring into savings at Ashley. Save up to 50% off living rooms, bedrooms, and dining rooms. Have it all delivered for free. Plus, you get long-term, no-interest financing. And right now, top brand mattress is on sale. You're getting free delivery, setup, and removal. They'll get that old mattress out of there for you, but don't wait. Spring into savings now at Ashley, South Jersey, and Philadelphia. Financing with approved credit. Minimum purchase required. Some exclusions may apply. See store for complete details. Hurry to Ashley. Visit ashleyfurniture.com for more information. Hooah! All right, we are back. I'm sorry, I'm messing around with my headspace here, and I'm trying to get my pennant. You see my pennant in the background, Tyler Zulli? That's the problem. I'm very proud of my Hawaii Pacific University pennant that I have. See that? They sent it to me. Not because I donate money, because they sent it to me. I don't know why. They just did. So
yeah, the donate money to your college after you've just spent 4 years there is the funniest thing in the world to me. Penn State does it to me all the time. They're like, "Hey, would you like to give us some money?" And I'm like, "Hey, have I finished paying my student loans yet?" No. Right. Okay, then no.
Right. Can I block I know the Temple number. It's 215-204 something. So if that comes up on my phone, I know it's Temple trying to get money. And then I've
money from me.
I've changed my number since then, so they don't call me anymore anyway. But still, you got my money, homeboy.
I get mail at my mom's house still because that was my mailing address when I went to school.
Right.
And so I'll go over to my mom. She's like, "Hey, you got mail from Penn State." I'm like, "Just throw it away." I love the university. I'm happy about my time there, but you're not getting any more money from me.
We are, as somebody once said. We are. All right, it's time for our BetParx Parlay of the day. Well, Tyler, listen, man, you couldn't be more hot. You are red hot.
Don't say that.
So what do you got? Well, I'm sorry, I'm not. I can't buy. I went ice cold in the NBA. So what do you got today?
So I've actually been doing pretty well on the over-unders and strikeouts this past week. I got a couple of different pitcher props that were good on strikeouts. So as much as there's some other plays that I like, I think I'm just going to ride the hot hand. And I'm going to go to the Texas Rangers and the Toronto Blue Jays tonight. And maybe not sneakily anymore because it's now been 11 starts, but Nate Eovaldi's been one of the best pitchers in all of baseball so far this year. Now, the Toronto Blue Jays don't strike out a lot. I think they're like third or fourth fewest strikeouts per game at only just over 7. But I can get Nate Eovaldi right now at over 4.5 at -186. And Eovaldi's pretty much hit that just about every start. The only 2 starts that he hasn't hit that this year were back on April 7th and April 13th. And since then, he's gone 7 5 times, 8 once, 5 once, and 6 once. So I could probably bump it up to 5.5, but because of the fact that the Blue Jays don't strike out a lot, I bought it down just a little bit, and I'll take the smaller payout. I'm going to go with Nate Eovaldi over 4.5 strikeouts tonight at -186 against the Blue Jays.
That's a hell of a signing for Texas when they signed them away from Boston a couple of years ago. He's been fantastic. He is. I'm a big Nate Eovaldi fan. All right, I'm going to take the. I'm riding and dying with my Knicks. Sixers fans for the New York Knicks. I'm going to take them on the money line. They lost the first 2 games at Madison Square Garden. They came back, beat the Pacers in game 3. They're 2-point underdogs tonight, so it's a light line. I'm going to take the Knicks on the money line. So we're betting 100 for 226. Tyler Zulli. So you have Eovaldi over 4.5, and I have the Knicks on the money line.
You got Scott Foster on Saturday night or Sunday night or whatever it was. The series extender. Yeah. I don't know if they'll get so lucky in game 4, but I mean, I think if it wasn't going to be a rout, like this Knicks team is too good to get routed that way. The Pacers have played really, really well. But 3 and 4 felt like a chance for the Knicks to get back into this thing.
Yeah, I think the idea of an Indiana OKC finals isn't exactly exciting the NBA league offices right now. I mean, listen, I would enjoy watching that, but it was the average fan. Would they care? Honestly, I look at this, and that's our BetParx Parlay of the day. I look at this, and actually, let's say this because we gotta do one more break here, and then we'll come back. because I'm watching. The more I watch the playoffs, the more angry I get. Which me being angry isn't exactly tough to do when it comes to the 76ers. All right, Philly with John Marks. I don't know if we're back in 2-2, but we got to talk about GLAT hair restoration. So I actually need a haircut. Look. And we got to talk about this maybe on the show before the end of the week. I'm thinking about going very short, almost like a buzz cut, and then shaving the beard down to almost stubble, because I'm starting to feel old. When my hair gets longer and the beard gets longer, I don't want to be old. Right? So that's what I can do. And I can also, like, to not look as old, I can get my hair back. GLAT hair restoration. I did it. You can see the hair right there. We know it's unkept. It looks great. That's GLAT hair restoration. So if you're balding and thinning, you might think like, well, I don't want to get hair restoration. That's fine. GLAT hair restoration is all they do is hair. The experts in the industry. Right here in Philadelphia, you're talking about the best hair office in the country. All right? GLATHairMM.com. Text or call them 610-980-4000. There's so many different options. And this is science in 2025 to where hair restoration, if you want to do it, there's a lot of good candidates like me out there. But if you're just starting to thin and bald and you're like, I don't like where my hairline is going, stop it before you need to get restoration. GLAT hair experts in the industry. Don't buy something off of Instagram that you're thinking like, oh, this is going to be great. Don't do it. Don't do it. All they do is hair. From the first phone call or text message to whenever you say my hair looks great, thank you, they're advocates for you. That's what they do, is to fix your hair problems. 610-980-4000. GLATHairMM.com. Ooh-ah. All right, let's talk about TrueMark Financial. I actually have to get, I feel kind of guilty because Mary Ellen from my branch of TrueMark, she emailed me. It's probably been 2 weeks ago now, and I didn't even respond back. I just thought of it right now. Like, you know what? What am I doing? Mary Ellen, we're buds. She was a longtime radio listener to me. Hello, Mary Ellen. I know you're watching this right now. TrueMark, that's the kind of service you get with TrueMark. They really are. It's like family. You walk in to my branch. I walk into my branch, and everybody feels like that they've worked together for years because they have. You don't go up to a teller and you're like, okay, like you sit down at their workstation. What can I do for you today? Right? So I opened up a business checking account, business savings account at TrueMark. I had never had a business account. I'm a small business owner now. They walked me through everything. I didn't know the documents I needed. I felt like such an idiot afterwards. They said, we need this. Let's figure out how can we get it for you so you don't have to go home. And we got it and got it done. But right now, you can spring in the savings. That's right. So if you have financial goals, I'm trying to go to Disney next year. How do I do that? Well, it's about saving every month. It's about getting your money into a high rate certificate and money market account so your money can grow faster and work harder for you. Just don't leave it in some penny savings account. Get to TrueMark.com/PHLY for rates and to learn more. TrueMark.com/PHLY, federally insured by NCUA. Rates are subject to change. Hoo-ah! All right, we are back. Philly. So Tyler, before the stop there, I remember specifically after the Saints won a Super Bowl. Was that 2000? Not 2007, but it was around then, right? Like 2009, maybe.
Yeah, it was somewhere in that time frame.
I remember thinking to myself, like, all right, Saints fans are good fans. Don't get me wrong. Like, Saints fans are good fans. They're not Fugazi fans. But I'm thinking to myself, the Aints. I grew up with Saints fans wearing paper bags on their head because the Saints were so freaking pathetic. The Saints won a Super Bowl before the Eagles. Like, and that's where you get to come to the conclusion of, my grandfather never saw a Super Bowl. They saw an NFL championship. They never saw a Super Bowl. I'm never going to see a Super Bowl. This team's never winning a Super Bowl. Like, this sucks. I love the NFL. I love football. I love the Eagles. They're never winning anything. The Saints won a Super Bowl. And 15 years later or so, the Eagles have now won 2 Super Bowls. And it's like, thank God.
The one that used to drive my dad crazy was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Because they were so bad in his childhood. So bad. It used to drive him nuts. And when they won in 2002, not
the Eagles.
Not only did it annoy him that they won, but to beat the Eagles to get there and then to go and like obliterate the Raiders. Because I think most Eagles fans would even objectively tell you the Eagles would have also beaten the Raiders that season. Like, it was just it was a match made in heaven for the Eagles to win their first Super Bowl. You know, it was the down year of the Patriots, and I think the Eagles probably would have won. But that's the one that drives him nuts, was the Bucs. And then the second one, because of their relative newness to the league at the time, the fact that the Ravens had 2 before the Eagles had any. So anytime I bring up a Bucs Super Bowl or a Ravens Super Bowl prior to the Eagles winning their first, it was like muttering under the you know, like, I hate this bleeping team type of thing. Now that they've won 2, it's a little more different, because I do think Eagles fans and Ravens fans are very similar. I think Philly and Baltimore are very similar. So I think there's a little less animosity there, but the Ravens and the Bucs were the 2 for my dad that were always like, I hate this bleeping team.
It's salt in the wounds.
Yeah,
it is. It is. And now that the Eagles run the NFL, it's like, ha, this is awesome. Right. Now that pivots me to the NBA. I'm watching the Pacers, the Knicks, and the Knicks are a horrendous franchise with bad ownership that hired somebody to run their basketball ops, and he knows what he's doing. OKC, which is a very well-run franchise. They've been a good franchise for a long time, but it's still Oklahoma City. And who are they? Oh, and Minnesota. They're your final 4 teams right now. I think OKC is going to win, but still, the Sixers have been to 1 Eastern Conference final in 41 years.
I believe the Minnesota Timberwolves by win percentage are the worst team in NBA history. Not in terms of how many losses they have, but I think, 41.6%. The Brooklyn Nets are second worst at 42.5. So in terms of win-loss percentage, and the T-Wolves came into the league in 89 and 90, so they've been in the league now for 35 years, have the worst winning percentage in all of basketball. In 2022, this is the most recent one I could find, the Pacers were the 22nd largest TV market, and the Oklahoma City Thunder were the 26th. It's probably changed for Oklahoma City a little bit, but I mean, you're talking about, what are considered small market teams and what are considered teams that have had less than stellar track records over the last couple of decades in terms of, winning championships. The Sixers are behind all of them at this point in terms of, you're talking 40 years now, over 40 years.
And Daryl Morey has now doubled down on the plan because he really has no other choice other than he could have went to ownership and said, hey, listen, this isn't going to work. Let's try to redo it, which whether he did it or not, that's not what they're doing. Look at OKC's roster. Obviously, SGA is the MVP. Chet Holmgren's an excellent player. Jalen Williams is an excellent player. Young drafted players that they developed. They added pieces from Alex Caruso, who is a glue bench defense 3-point team. Like Anthony Edwards, young stud. Rudy Gobert, defensive player. McDaniels is good. You get where I'm going. I'm not even going to name the Knicks roster because they're my team. I don't need to, but you get where I'm going here. So now I'm looking at this, and now I look at the 76ers, a 35-year-old Paul George, a broken down Joel Embiid, and then I love Maxey, McCain's. I like McCain. You know what I mean? Like, and we'll see what he is in second year coming off the injury, the number 3 overall pick. Like, can't we just fast forward to where Morey gets fired and they move on and they start over? How many years is that going to be away? They're not winning like this. The NBA isn't let's form a veteran big 3 and then we're going to be great and it's going to work out. They have a Paul George that I think it still can be a contributing player. Man, him and Embiid aren't good enough. Maxey's not ready for a starring role to be like, hey, I'll be better than you guys. I just need you to be you. I'll take the pressure off of you guys. He's not ready for that. He'll never be ready for that, in my opinion.
Well, and right? the one team that you didn't mention in terms of roster construction is the Pacers, and they made a couple of shrewd trades to get to this point. You get Halliburton in the deal that sends Sabonis to Sacramento, and it ended up being a good trade for both teams because Sabonis has thrived in Sacramento too. But Halliburton's become probably on the edge of stardom, if not superstardom at this point. And then you go and acquire Pascal Siakam for a handful of first-round picks and some matching money type guys. And it was a good move in that sense too. But then you've also drafted well and you've acquired some depth and some bench pieces and things like that. But like all of these organizations have put themselves in good spots recently. by some shrewd moves that have really paid off. And then, of course, the Thunder with 9 billion first-round picks in the last, 3 years plus.
Yep, almost had the Sixers pick. All right, if you're watching on TV, get over to allphly.com. It's time for overtime. The Knicks have a guy named Precious on their roster, and they're still there. Mikal Bridges. Sixers had him. They traded him away. Who was the loser they traded him away for? And I blanked it out of my memory.
It was Zaire Smith.
Zaire Smith, yeah. Yep. Karl Anthony Towns, excellent trade. Jalen Brunson, excellent signing. OG, excellent was the trade, and then they re-signed him. It was a trade, then they re-signed him, right? Josh Hart, excellent role player. Even Shamet hit a three-pointer the other night. I'm like, hang on a second, Shamet? Way back in the day with the Sixers, so it makes me sick. Yeah, you're right with the Pacers. Like the Pacers are a well-built team. The Sixers are building something from 2006.
The Knicks got Anunoby along with Precious Achiuwa, who you just mentioned, for R.J. Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly.
Like, come on, man.
Good move.
Yeah. Yep. Sure was. All right. We're back tomorrow. Anthony is live right now. Shout out to everybody watching. Remember, if you can't watch it live, you can always watch whenever. Just subscribe to PHLY on YouTube. And the audio-only podcast is available. Just make sure you rate and review. Give us a 5-star review, as I believe we're perfect on 5-star reviews. So if you can't catch it or you don't want to catch it, because listen on audio. It's good. I have an audio ear, so I'm trying to do the show like it's not just on YouTube and on video. So thank you. We're back tomorrow. Everybody have a great afternoon, and switch on over to Ant. He's live right now. See you.
We all silly like the mayor.